Cars were honking. People were rushing. The sun was burning on the busy city street. On the corner, a poor vendor named Eli stood behind his small cart. He was selling fresh tea and sandwiches. His cart was old. The wheels were shaking. But his smile was soft. He looked tired but kind. Eli softly called out, "Hot tea, fresh sandwiches, very cheap, please try, sir." A black luxury car stopped right in front of his cart with a loud brake. A rich man in a suit stepped out. His name was Mr. Carter. Gold watch. Shiny shoes. Expensive perfume. He looked like he owned the whole street. He wrinkled his nose and looked at Eli like he was dirt. "Ugh," Mr. Carter said loudly. "Why is this trash blocking the road?" Eli quickly pulled his cart a little back. "I'm sorry, sir," Eli said, his voice soft. "I will move. Please give me 1 minute." Mr. Carter walked closer. He looked at the old cart, the cheap cups, the broken handle. He laughed. "You call this a business?" He shouted so everyone could hear. "This is not a shop. This is street trash." People on the sidewalk stopped and turned. Eli's hands shook on the metal handle. "Sir, please. I pay my spot fee. I am not trash," Eli whispered. Mr. Carter stepped even closer. His face was cold. "Men like me build this city," he said. "People like you just make it dirty." Then, in front of everyone, he hit the side of the cart with his hand. The cart shook. Hot tea spilled on the ground. A few cups fell and broke. Eli jumped back, scared. His eyes filled with tears. Mr. Carter threw a small coin at his feet. "Pick it up, street trash," he said. "That's all you're worth." If you were standing there, what would you say? People watched in silence. Some took out their phones and recorded. Eli stared at the ground, humiliated. His lips trembled. But just a few minutes later, that same rich man would be on his knees, begging the street trash to save the person he loved most in the world. Eli had been on that corner for 7 years. Every day before sunrise, he pushed his heavy cart from a small rented room in a narrow alley. His back hurt. His shoes were old. But he never complained. At home, he had a little daughter named Mia. She was 8. Big brown eyes. Thin, but always smiling. "Baba, did you sell a lot today?" She would always ask. Eli would smile, even on bad days. "Yes, Mia. Enough for your school books," he would say, even if he had skipped his own dinner. That morning, before coming to the street, Mia held his hand. "Baba," she whispered. "Teacher said we have to bring money for the school trip. Everyone is going. I also want to go." Eli's heart squeezed. The money he had was already for rent and food. "Mia," he said slowly, "I will try, okay? I promise I will try." She nodded and hugged him tightly. "Baba, you always try," she said. "That's why you're my hero." Those words stayed in his heart as he walked out, pushing the cart. On the other side of the city, Mr. Carter was getting ready in his big glass house. He was a rich businessman. He owned buildings, restaurants, offices. He shouted at staff if the coffee was a little cold. He fired people for small mistakes. In his world, money was everything. That morning, his teenage daughter Grace came down the stairs with her school bag. "Dad, are you dropping me today?" she asked. "Yes," he said, checking his gold watch. "But I have a big investor meeting after that. We don't have time to waste." Grace sighed. "Dad, you never have time," she whispered. "What?" he asked sharply. "Nothing," she said quickly. "Let's go." His driver, Lucas, opened the car door. Lucas had worked for him for years. He had seen Mr. Carter shout at waiters, cleaners, guards, and drivers. He knew how cold his boss could be. As they drove through the city, traffic became heavy. "Sir, there is some work on the main road," Lucas said. "We may need to pass through the market street." "Fine," Mr. Carter said. "Just don't be late." They turned into the crowded street where Eli stood with his cart. Eli wiped sweat from his forehead. The day was already hot. He served tea to a rickshaw driver, gave a sandwich to a schoolboy who was short of money and said, "Pay me tomorrow, beta." When business was quiet, he whispered to himself, "Please God, today I need some extra. Mia wants to go on her school trip." He looked up at the sky and smiled sadly. At that exact moment, the black car turned into the lane. Lucas slowed down as people crossed. Grace looked out the window. "Dad, I'm hungry," she said. "Can we stop somewhere? Please." "We don't have time for restaurants," Mr. Carter said. She looked at Eli's cart. "What about that?" she asked. "Street food is nice." Mr. Carter followed her gaze and frowned. "That?" He almost laughed. "I don't eat from these kinds of places." But the traffic wasn't moving. Cars were stuck. People were honking. The car stopped right in front of Eli's cart. Eli saw the big car and smiled politely. "Good morning, sir," he said. "Tea? Sandwich? Very fresh, very clean, I promise." Mr. Carter slowly stepped out of the car. He looked at Eli like he was something stuck to his shoe. And that was the moment when everything started. The moment he called another human being street trash. And the whole street froze to watch. Next, the insult gets worse, and then karma hits in minutes. Mr. Carter stood in front of Eli's cart, his face full of disgust. Grace opened her door a little, watching quietly. "Sir," Eli said kindly, "I clean my cart every day. My food is safe. You can." "Shut up," Mr. Carter snapped. "Do you know who I am?" Eli swallowed. "No, sir, but I am the owner of Carter Towers," he said loudly so people could hear. "I sign deals bigger than your whole life. And you are just standing here, making this city dirty." Some people in the crowd frowned. One auntie whispered, "Why is he talking like that? The vendor didn't do anything." Another man took out his phone and started recording. Eli's ears were burning. His neck felt hot. He looked down, trying not to cry. "Sir, I have permission to stand here," he said softly. "I pay fee every week. I just try to feed my daughter." Mr. Carter laughed, a hard cold laugh. "Your daughter," he said. "Little trash makes more trash." Eli's chest hurt. His hands gripped the cart so tight his knuckles turned white. Lucas, the driver, stepped forward. "Sir," Lucas said in a low voice, "please, people are watching. It's not good to speak like this." Mr. Carter turned on him too. "Did I ask for your advice?" He snapped. "Stay in your place, Lucas. Or you can join your friend here on the street." Lucas went silent. His jaw clenched. Grace looked shocked. "Dad, stop," she said from the car. "He's just working." "Grace, stay inside," Mr. Carter said sharply. "You don't know these people. They are lazy. That's why they are on the street. They don't work hard like us." Eli lifted his eyes. "I work hard, sir," he said quietly. Mr. Carter stepped closer, invading his space. "Do you?" he said. "Then why do you still look like this?" He waved his hand over Eli's simple clothes. "Because you're street trash. That's what you are. That's what you always will be." The words hit Eli like stones. His throat tightened. He wanted to defend himself. He wanted to shout, "I am a father. I am a human being." But the fear was stronger. "Sir, please don't call me that," he whispered. "I have respect also. I may be poor but—" Mr. Carter slammed his hand on the cart. The cart shook. Hot tea spilled out of the kettle onto the ground. A stack of sandwiches fell. One cup broke into pieces. "Look at this garbage," Mr. Carter shouted. "You block the road, you spill things. How much do you even make in a day?" "Less than the price of my tie." He pulled a coin from his pocket and flicked it at Eli. It hit Eli's chest and fell to the ground. "Here," he said. "Payment for your drama. Pick it up, street trash." The words hung in the air. Eli didn't move. His eyes were wet. His lips trembled. He thought of Mia asking about the school trip. He thought of all the mornings he pushed this cart in the dark. A whisper came from the crowd. "This is too much. Why is he insulting him like that? Someone should say something." But no one stepped forward. Eli slowly bent down, not to pick up the coin, but to pick up the broken cup. His hands were shaking. A tear fell on the ground. Lucas looked away, his eyes angry and sad. Grace's eyes filled with tears. "Dad, please, let's go," she begged. He said sorry already. Mr. Carter straightened his suit. "Fine," he said. "We are already late. Lucas, let's go." He walked back to the car. He didn't even look at Eli again. As he opened the door, he turned and called out one more time, almost like he enjoyed it. "Remember," he shouted, "your place is in the gutter. Street trash." He got into the car and slammed the door. Lucas started the engine. The crowd watched in silence. Eli stood by his broken cart, chest rising and falling, trying to hold back sobs. He whispered to himself, "I am not trash. I am not trash. I am someone's father." If you were in his place, what would you do? As he wiped his tears, the black car pulled away slowly. Barely 2 minutes later, a scream cut through the noise of the street. "Help! Somebody help!" It was Grace's voice. The black car had stopped in the middle of the road. Inside, something was very, very wrong. Next, the street trash becomes the only hope, and karma hits hard. The street froze. Lucas jumped out of the car, his face pale. "Sir! She's choking!" he shouted. Through the windshield, people saw Grace clutching her throat, her eyes wide with fear. A piece of sandwich had gone down the wrong way. She couldn't breathe. Her face was turning red, then purple. "Grace!" Mr. Carter shouted, panic in his voice. "Grace, say something. Breathe." But she couldn't. She scratched at her neck, tears streaming down her face. The cars behind them honked, but then also went silent when they saw what was happening. "Somebody call an ambulance." Lucas yelled. A woman on the sidewalk shouted. "The hospital is 20 minutes away in this traffic. She won't make it." Mr. Carter's hands shook. He tried to pull Grace out of the car, but he didn't know what to do. "Grace, please, don't close your eyes," he cried. "Please, baby, don't do this to me." The same man who had looked so powerful only minutes ago now looked small and broken. He looked around desperately. "Help! Please!" he screamed. "I'll pay anything. Just save my daughter." The crowd looked at each other. Nobody moved. They were afraid. They didn't know how to help. Then, from behind, a voice spoke. "Move back." It was calm. Firm. Everyone turned. It was Eli. He had left his cart. His apron still had tea stains. His eyes were still red from crying. But now, there was something else in his eyes. Courage. He pushed through the crowd and came to the car. "Please let me see her," Eli said. Mr. Carter spun around. "You?" he shouted. "No, no, no, get away from my car." Grace's body jerked. Her hands were weak now. "She's turning blue," someone cried. Eli met Mr. Carter's eyes. "Sir," he said, breathing fast, "I learned first aid in our community center. I know how to help when someone is choking. Please, let me try." Mr. Carter hesitated. His mind flashed back to the words he had just used. Street trash. Gutter. But right now, in this moment, he was the helpless one. And the man he had insulted was the only one who knew what to do. "Sir!" Lucas shouted. "Let him help. We don't have time." Grace's eyes rolled back. Her hands dropped. Mr. Carter's heart broke. "Please," he whispered. "Please save my daughter." His voice cracked. He stepped aside. Eli quickly opened the car door and gently pulled Grace out. "Grace, listen to me," Eli said softly but firmly. "I know you can't breathe, but I am here. I will help you, okay?" He stood behind her, wrapped his arms around her, and pressed his fist just above her stomach. He pushed in and up, over and over, using the Heimlich maneuver he had learned from an old poster at the community hall. "Come on, Beatty, breathe, breathe," he murmured. The whole street watched. It was so quiet you could hear his breath. 1 push. 2 pushes. 3. On the 4th push, a small piece of sandwich shot out of Grace's mouth and fell to the ground. She gasped. Air rushed into her lungs. She coughed hard, bending over. Tears poured from her eyes. "Breathe, it's okay," Eli said softly, patting her back. "You're okay now. You're okay." She took deep, shaky breaths. Color slowly returned to her face. "Oh my God," someone in the crowd whispered. "He did it. He saved her." That's the same vendor he called street trash. Phones were recording everything. Every word. Every tear. Grace turned and collapsed into her father's arms, crying. "Dad," she sobbed, "I couldn't breathe. I thought I was going to die." Mr. Carter held her like he would never let go. "It's okay, you're safe now," he whispered, voice shaking. "You're safe." Then he looked up. His eyes met Eli's. Eli stepped back, breathing hard, his hands still shaking from the effort. He wiped sweat from his forehead with the back of his arm. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Mr. Carter did something no one expected. He dropped to his knees. Right there, in the middle of the street. In front of the man he had called trash. "In front of all of us," an auntie whispered. "Now let's see what he says." Mr. Carter's eyes filled with tears. His voice cracked. I'm sorry." Eli blinked, confused. "Sir?" he said softly. Mr. Carter's shoulders shook. "I called you trash," he said, his voice breaking. "I humiliated you. I broke your cups. I stepped on your respect." He looked down at the ground, ashamed. "And yet, you saved my daughter's life." He slowly lifted his head. "I don't deserve your kindness," he whispered. "But, thank you. Thank you for saving her." The crowd watched, surprised. Some people smiled faintly. Others shook their heads, still angry at him. Eli looked at him quietly. He could have shouted. He could have said, "Now you know how it feels." But that wasn't who he was. "Sir," Eli said softly, "a child's life is more important than my hurt feelings. I just did what any father would do." His eyes grew wet. "I know what it feels like to be afraid for your child," he added. "I would never let your daughter suffer if I could help." Grace looked at him with big eyes. You're the vendor my dad shouted at," she said, her voice shaking. "I heard everything. I'm so sorry." Eli gave her a small, kind smile. You did nothing wrong, Beatty, he said. Your heart is kind. That is enough. The crowd murmured. One man called out, You see? Poor people are not trash. They have bigger hearts than rich people sometimes. Another woman added, We all saw what happened. We will not forget. A young boy with his phone out said, This is going online today. People must see how this man insulted him, and how the same man saved his daughter. Mr. Carter closed his eyes. He knew. His insult, his words, his cruelty, all of it was recorded. The internet would not be kind. His reputation, his name, his business, everything would be hit. This was his karma. And he deserved it. He stood up slowly. Eli, he said, using his name for the first time. Yes, sir. Eli replied. Please, let me fix what I broke, Mr. Carter said. Not just your cups. Not just your cart. Your dignity. He turned to the crowd. My name is Daniel Carter, he said loudly. I am a businessman. I always thought money made me better than others. Today, I learned I was wrong. He pointed to Eli. This man is 10 times richer than me, he said. Not in money. In heart. The crowd nodded. He turned back to Eli. If you allow me, Mr. Carter continued, I want to buy you a new cart, a proper stall. I will help you get a license. I will pay for your daughter's school fees, and whatever she needs for her future. Eli's eyes widened. You don't have to, he began. I want to, Mr. Carter said. It is the least I can do after what I did to you. I don't know if you can ever forgive me. But I promise from today, I will never call any worker, any vendor, any poor person trash again. He swallowed. I know what trash is now, he said quietly. Trash is a heart with no kindness. And that was my heart. I want to change that. A few days later, Eli stood in front of a small but beautiful street cafe stall. It had a bright board. Eli's tea and snacks. Everyone is welcome. The cart was new. Clean. Strong wheels. Proper shade from the sun. On the corner of the board, in small letters, it said, Never call a human being trash. Mia held his hand tightly, smiling from ear to ear. She wore a neat school uniform and held a permission slip for her school trip. Baba, look, she said. Our stall looks so nice. Eli smiled, tears in his eyes. Yes, Beta, he said. Today, our life is changing. Across the road, Mr. Carter and Grace stood watching. They had come quietly, without bodyguards, without showing off. Grace walked over first. She handed Mia a small gift. For you, she said. For your school trip. Mia's eyes shone. Thank you, she said shyly. Baba says your father helped us get this new stall. Grace looked at Eli. My father is still learning, she said. But I promise, I will never let him forget what happened that day. Mr. Carter came forward. He looked humbler. Softer. Like some of his pride had melted away. Eli, he said, we signed the papers for your license. You're official now. No one can push you away from this spot. Eli nodded. Thank you, sir, he said. Not just for the stall. For changing your heart. Mr. Carter looked at the sign. Never call a human being trash, he read out loud. He smiled sadly. That's a good message, he said. For people like me. He reached into his pocket and pulled out something else. A check. This is for Mia's future, he said softly. School fees. Books. Whatever she needs. It's in her name. Please, don't say no. Eli's hands shook as he took it. His eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say, he whispered. Just say you'll keep that heart of yours, Mr. Carter said. The one that saved my daughter when I didn't deserve your help. Grace looked at Eli. Thank you, she said again, her voice soft but full of meaning. For my life. Eli smiled. You're welcome, Beatty, he said. Remember, never look down on anyone. One day, they may be the one who saves you. As the camera slowly pulls away, we see a once poor vendor, now standing proud behind his new stall. His daughter, happy and safe, ready for a better future. A rich man, no longer walking with his nose in the air, but with his head bowed in humility. Karma did not just punish him. It changed him. Never call a human being trash. Money can make you powerful, but only kindness makes you truly rich. If you saw someone like Eli on your street today, would you look down on them, or smile and show respect?